Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to the longest running superhero role playing game on Earth, also known as the Continuum Chronicles. As always, I'm your host, the Game Master, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite characters of all time, Doc Savage. But before we get into that, smash that like button, ring the bell so you know when I upload stuff, and make sure you're subscribed. We have a great community here, and it's all thanks to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. That said, let's dive in. The prologue to today's story takes place in 1933. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt is flying in an airplane known as a Douglas Dolphin. It is approaching Cleveland, Ohio, and is preparing to land when one of the engines quits working. The plane starts to descend rapidly, and the man known as Red saves the president's life, getting the plane down safely. Red is invited to the White House, where the president introduces him to his personal physician, Doc Savage. Red goes with Doc to his version of the Fortress of Solitude, where he meets Doc's cousin, Patricia Savage. She was born in 1914. She has Doc's exotic bronze hair color and golden eyes, naturally tanned skin. She's tall, basically, and all of the Doc Savage pulp magazines, they just hammer across the idea that she's just perfect, right? And Doc introduces her as the daughter of his uncle Alex, who lives in Canada. Red kisses her hand, and for her, it's love at first sight. He likes her too. The only one who doesn't like what he sees here is Doc, who is famously celibate because Doc believes you can't devote yourself to two things at once. So if you're going to really devote yourself to, truth and justice in the American way, that doesn't leave any time for romance. So Doc breaks up the two lovebirds by asking Pat to fetch his equipment. She flashes Red a dazzling smile, then does as Doc asked. And together, they begin their examination of Red and his unusual physiology. So then we get into the main plot of today's adventure, which takes place in March of 1933. Doc returns to New York City with Pat and Red, and while perusing his father's private documents, Doc becomes the focus of an assassination plot. He pursues and traps a sniper at the adjacent Eastern Cranmore building, but the potential assassin slips and falls to his demise. Inspecting the remains, Doc uncovers that his attacker is a tribal man with distinctive features. His fingertips are stained in red as though soaked in blood, and his chest is adorned with an intricate tattoo depicting an ancient Mayan deity. Upon returning to his penthouse headquarters, Doc Savage discovers that trespassers have vandalized his father's private documents. Determined to unravel the mystery of his father's murder, Doc Savage takes flight to a country called Hidalgo, accompanied by his esteemed brain trust, the Fabulous Five. They consist of Ham, Johnny, Monk, Rennie, and Tom, as well as Pat Savage and Red. Anticipating Doc Savage's arrival is the notorious international criminal and smuggler, Captain Ciz, who persistently tries to eliminate Doc and his compatriots, leading to a massive brawl aboard the captain's yacht, which is called the Seven Seas. Meanwhile, Doc's inquiry reveals that years prior, his father, Professor Savage, was granted extensive land in the uncharted hinterlands of Hidalgo by a tribe of Mayans who vanished 500 years ago. However, Don Rubio Goro from the local government's land office informs Doc that all documentation regarding this transaction is missing. Doc also receives unexpected help from Goro's assistant, the beautiful Mona Flores, who had witnessed the original documents and volunteers to guide the heroes to the land claim. And upon meeting Red, Mona experiences love at first sight, captivated by his charm. Red, though acknowledging Mona's extreme beauty, remains loyal to Patricia, treating Mona with politeness, but nothing more. As Mona and Patricia vie for Red's attention, Doc observes their interactions and speculates whether Red possesses some kind of pheromones. Doc grows concerned that Red's potential pheromonal influence might be manipulating his cousin Patricia, which prompts him to keep a close eye on their interactions. Following the trail of clues left by his father, Doc and his compatriots discover the concealed entrance to a secluded valley, which is the home of this Mayan tribe. Doc ventures away from the group and stumbles upon a pool of liquid gold. He also uncovers Captain Ciz's exploitation of the natives, using them as forced labor to extract the gold for his own gain. Meanwhile, the villain's henchmen capture the remaining heroes, and Captain Ciz unleashes the Green Death, which is the same airborne plague responsible for the demise of Doc's father, and it's what allows him to maintain control over this tribe. After an intense clash of diverse combat techniques, Doc defeats Captain, compelling him to release his friends. Doc then administers a specialized antidote to treat his companions. Witnessing their leader's defeat, the captain's men attempt to flee with the gold, but an explosion of dynamite triggers the eruption of the gold pool, engulfing the henchmen, including Don Rubio Goro, in molten metal. Freed from the captain's grip, the tribal chief offers the gold and the land grant to Doc, who in turn vows to continue his father's work. And with all this gold at his disposal, he swears to devote his life to the cause of justice. Doc Savage then returns to the United States, where they transport Captain Ciz to a private rehabilitation center in Westchester County, New York, where Doc then performs acupuncture brain surgery, and he actually manages to cure the villain of his criminal tendencies. Which brings us to our epilogue, which takes place during Christmas time, 1933. Doc is out Christmas shopping, and he crosses paths with the once infamous supervillain, and Ciz is now literally working for the Salvation Army, raising money for charity. So he's completely reformed, thanks to Doc. Meanwhile, back at Doc's penthouse headquarters, Red and Patricia snuggle by the fireplace. And everything for them is going great. So we had a bunch more adventures with these characters, but that would be too much for this video, I think. So I'm going to call it here. We really enjoyed the pulp age. I'm a huge fan of Doc Savage. I hope that you had fun listening to this. And if so, be sure to smash the like button, make sure you're subscribed, ring the bell, and as always, leave a comment. That really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. I hope you guys have a good one, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.